Today, we're going to be talking all about releasing the fear. We kind of touched on the subject yesterday, but I'm going to give you a step-by-step process to really tap into this fear and again, release it. And then what I want you guys to do is go back in the workbooks and actually answer these questions on your own. So again, we'll be touching base with it. But before we start, I would just like to track all of the abundance that's actually flown in the past few days. And when I say every cent, I truly mean it. So if you worked with me before, you know how big I am on counting every single penny. And these are things I get questions about all the time. Does this count? Does money manifested? And so in the comments, you guys can go ahead and share any stories that have manifested thus far. And what I would like to remind you that things are included is money that you would have spent. This is huge. Honestly, when I first started learning about law of attraction, manifestation, how it applies to money, these things would happen all of the time. So money that you would have spent, crazy discounts, giveaways. Someone said, man, I manifested a lower car note. Yep. So good. My aunt is visiting me. My aunt is visiting and randomly gave me $100. Woo! Oh, I forgot to add that one in here, but when people pay you back too, that's also something that happens a lot when people do this work, because once you realize that we're all connected, it's again, how money circulates. So money that you knew that was coming to you. So like I said, if someone owed you money and they just so happen to pay you back yesterday or within the next few days, I'm telling you guys that is not a coincidence. They had the download to pay you back and follow through with their commitments because that's what you've been attracting. So someone said my mom paid for Texas Roadhouse and she found $10 and gave it to me. So good. I manifested $250 from a party table and they were only there for 2 hours. So good. I manifested getting paid for my sick days. Beautiful. Another thing that I like to point out is, again, every single cent. Something that happens a lot when you're conscious of this is that you start to find money literally everywhere. If you guys see me post this on my social media a lot, but I find pennies and dimes and nickels on the ground. If you tune in today's podcast episode, I talked about when I went to go see the apartment that I just manifested. I found a dime on the ground and the realtor literally looked at me and said, "Look at you, money finding you everywhere you go." And I said, "What?" He had absolutely no idea what I did. And I just thought that was so funny. But that is a sign that there's a lot of abundance that's coming your way. And if you are not respecting that penny on the ground, then you are not respecting $100, $1 million, whatever it is. So last thing I want you to make sure that you include is credit advancements, loans, grants, getting approved for those things. Again, that's something that also happens a lot with my clients. And they're like, "Does this count?" And I'm like, is it available to you? So the answer is yes. So make sure we're counting these things. If you want to just take this time, take your pen and paper, write it down, and just really give acknowledgement to this. Okay, Joanna's on my team and she's over here saying she manifested $300. Someone paid me back on money out of 1,000, and they said that they would do the rest in payments for the next coming weeks after months of not hearing from them. See? Yes, this is why I'm so big of you guys being in the live energy, because there's something in the air when we're doing this. I got a gift card for $50 yesterday. My landlord kept us at the same rate for my shop's rent. Oh, that's really cool. And I found $3 on the floor this morning. I randomly got $100 off my rent. Before the workshop, I manifested $3,000 and received an early retirement check for $3,968.72. 3 weeks early. Yep. See, that's what happens, guys. Even though you knew that money was coming to you, it just happens a lot faster because, again, you're a magnet. So what we went over yesterday is what is manifestation? We really debunked a lot of questions and beliefs that we have about manifestation and really identified that it's always happening. Second thing that we talked about is the law of attraction. Again, this is one of many universal laws, but a lot of people, my mission and my goal is for everybody to at least be conscious of this, to be aware that whatever it is that you're focusing on the most, you're creating more of. Third thing we talked about is unconsciously manifesting, AKA I'm scared to think something negative because if I do, then I'm going to manifest it. And we touched on it again yesterday, but really tuning into that and being aware of what that fear actually is and acknowledging that it's the most dominant thought and not every single thought in your brain is going to manifest in the physical form. So last thing, but we went over is complete clarity. And I've seen so many posts of everybody doing their homework, and I'm so excited that you guys are doing this work. But we just got super clear on the things that were no longer serving us, the things that we're releasing. And anytime that we're releasing things that we've been holding on to, we're holding on to them for a reason, most likely because we're scared to let them go. And so today's work is to get super clear on what that fear actually is. So anytime that, again, we're staying in this place, we're procrastinating, it's because we feel safe. There's something about that situation where how we're staying right now makes us feel safe and it helps us avoid this fear. So what we're going to do is really tap into this fear. And again, we'll go over this super quick because I want to make sure that we have a lot of time for our guest speaker, because I know you guys will have a lot of questions, but I also have a lot of questions. So I'm so excited. But my first step of this 5-step process of tuning into the fear is, again, to become conscious. So if you guys have your pen and paper right now, you're taking notes. Leah asked if we missed yesterday, can we watch it somewhere? Yep. So if you're not already in the Facebook group, if you want to drop the link, or Mariel, just for the Facebook group, we'll have the replay there. We also have a workbook for each day, just in case you weren't able to come on and do the questions. So the first step is to be conscious of the belief. So AKA the story. What is the thing that you've been telling yourself over and over and over again that is unconsciously manifesting into your reality? So again, a lot of times we can't fix the problem. We can't fix the fear if we don't even know why we're scared. So I gave an example here, but I can't quit my job because if I do, I won't have enough money for rent. And so in the comments right now, you're hearing me talk about this example, this specific topic. What is something that we wrote down yesterday, something that you're releasing, you're letting go of? Why does that scare you? Or what is the fear that comes to the surface when you think about this? So I'll read the comments as I go, but I'm going to go ahead and read the next step because, again, this is all going to be in your workbooks. Current struggle. I use that example because that's the number one thing that I get in my DMs. So it's like, I can't quit my job. And I said, oh my gosh, this is like my favorite topic ever. So the second step is to identify where the fear actually stemmed from. Because right now, like Paola just said, I want to start in my own business, but I'm scared of failure because I don't know where to start. I get so excited when I hear these stories because, it's awesome when people manifest money, but I'm telling you, until you get to the real root of what it is that you're scared of, and you're no longer sabotaging that money that is coming to you, that's where the real shift starts. So I'm scared of success. I won't be able to handle success, a successful team in business. I'm scared of failing. I'm scared to quit my job and pursue creating content because I haven't started making money. So again, the second step is to get super clear. Where did this fear actually come from? Where or who said what that made you unconsciously believe this story? So again, we teach this in our programs, but your subconscious beliefs have most likely developed from the ages 0 up until you're 7 years old. And what happens is that you actually create the same patterns and stories and cycles over and over and over again. That's why when you release a job and you go to another job, it seems like the same situation over and over again. It's because there's a cycle that needs to be broken. And some people even have these limiting beliefs develop in the womb. That's why I'm really big on hypnosis and past lives and getting super clear again where these stories started, because they're most likely not even yours. So the fear of failing, right? Like that is something that where you've seen it stemmed from something, again, as you were a child or maybe even prior to that. So for example, you can't get that, Anita, because we don't have enough money. So again, my mom didn't say this because she wanted me to believe that I didn't have enough money or whatever it is, right? That was just the paradigm at the time. But what happened is that when we went to the store and I didn't have enough money for something, right? It made me believe that this is the truth, right? So this leads to step 3, identifying what the proof was. So this has been the story again, over and over and over again. And now when I go to the store and I go buy some makeup for myself and I see the price of that makeup, and then I see the price or the number that's in my account, and I physically see that I don't have enough money for it, it gives proof to that belief. And so this belief has been validated multiple times. That is why it's so deep rooted into our subconscious mind. And so when I say we got a lot of work to do, I really, really mean it. So where I said the fear of letting my mom down and not being able to talk to her because she passed away, the fear of not getting affirmation from her. Oh, my heart. I always put things in the cart and then put them back right before I check out. Yep. See, that might have been something that you maybe even seen when you were little, right? Maybe when you were in the store, your mom did that. Well, let's just leave it at the checkout line, right? Maybe she didn't say anything, but there's something that happened that made you believe that you don't have enough. So good. The fear of moving away from my hometown. Oh, girl, I am so excited about that because I truly believe that once you at least just kind of experience other places, that helps your subconscious mind break a lot of habits because your habits are deep rooted, especially that's why every single time that I go to my hometown, I get triggered because that's where all of those habits and stories actually stem from. So, okay, step number 4 is what are you choosing to believe instead? AKA you're writing the story. So this is why I get so excited when people are, again, going out to the store and they're buying something without looking at the price tag, or maybe they're making a purchase on a home that they didn't believe that they were capable of having, or maybe they're just literally going to Starbucks and getting themselves a coffee. Because they're breaking the stories in the cycle that's telling them you can't do that. You don't have enough. You won't be safe. And so a lot of times when people, again, start doing this work, abundance just starts to manifest through multiple ways, random checks, people paying for stuff, people giving you money, is because you're breaking that cycle and you're releasing the resistance. And so an example of rewriting the story is that I believe that money is an unlimited resource that I can tap into at any given point or time. And so now that I'm changing the story, AKA I'm consciously, maybe I'm affirming this, maybe I'm writing it, maybe I'm recording myself and listening back to it. That's step 4, right? You can use these tools and these resources and those audios that you hear on TikTok. This is why they work, because you're, again, reprogramming that belief. And so step 5 is where the masculine energy comes. And again, like I said, we have a lot of work to do. It's just not the kind of work that we're used to, is to really identify the proof that this is the new story. So again, the work is to rebuild the belief and prove to the subconscious mind that this is true, right? So if I go to a store, or actually I like giving this example. If I'm breaking the story of the cycle that's saying, well, I can't get a coffee because, I only have X amount of money in my bank account. Well, I'll be late for work. Well, I'll have to get some for everybody else, and all these limiting beliefs. And then I say, you know what? I deserve a coffee today. You know what? I know I have coffee at home, but I want to go to Starbucks and get my favorite drink. And then you go to Starbucks, and then the person in front of you pays for your drink. And that's a perfect example of how money works and how money circulates, because the person in front of you was just breaking the cycle that they can't give money away. Because I either work with people who don't have enough, Where I work with people who have money, they're just not being abundant and they're holding on to it and they're scared of releasing it. And so again, that's my perfect example of how money works. And again, those are things you're writing that down, remembering that. And a lot of times when I do my reflections at night, I write down these little stories because you actually go through the same cycles over and over again. And once you get back to those other points in the cycle, you realize that there's still proof that you've broken that cycle before. Yes, I treated myself to a coffee the other day and had the opportunity to pay it forward. Oh, these make me so happy. If you guys are in the Facebook group, you know why I get so excited about that. I have $2 in my account and as we are speaking and I'm not worried and I just see the light. Yes, go get a coffee with those $2, I swear, or give it away. So now I'm going to bring on my guest speaker. Again, I'm so happy and grateful for not only TikTok, but for Axél being able to be on here and being a speaker today, because this is just something that I've seen him on TikTok just sharing worldwide. And again, I love TikTok algorithm because it connects you with people who are operating at the same frequency as you. But when I find people who are so passionate about teaching this material, so passionate about showing up and answering these questions, it truly makes my heart so happy. And so the fact that you're able to be on here today, I'm so happy again and grateful. I wanted to give you guys just a little background of Axél and what he does. So he's actually a shaman, which is so interesting. I know we had somebody in the comments yesterday and I had them message me who was also a shaman. But so he helps other people master their gifts, their ascension and manifestation. So I know you're also really big on quantum leaping, which also makes me so excited. And I know we also have a lot of people who are Reiki practitioners here. So if you guys want to put it in the comments, if you do Reiki. One of the things that I noticed from an interview that you did, Axél, was that you develop a revolutionary method to modify almost 100-year-old healing practice for the modern age. So pretty much just modernizing everything that we have learned about healing and quantum leaping, Reiki, and I just love how you explain it. So with that being said, I'm going to give you the floor. Again, we'll go back over your guys' homework at the end of this. There you are. I was like, where are we at?
Okay. Can you hear me just fine?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Hey.
I'm so excited.
Cool. Thank you for having me. I'm really, really excited to just be sharing all the wisdom that I've gained with money in general. So I know this is going to be super helpful for you guys. I'm an old school teacher. So I teach the same way my gurus taught me, which I don't really use a lot of slides or anything like that. But I am going to give you a worksheet at the end of this that you guys can definitely download to help you really get clear as to how to unlock more money for yourself. Okay. So right before we get into it, I'm going to give you a little bit of my backstory. I know Anita gave you some of it, but it kind of just helps people really understand why what I'm about to share with you is so important, because it's changed my life personally. I come from a long line of shamans. I've been doing shamanism since I was the age of 6. So in my reality, I've just learned how to do all these different psychic things, right? I'm a self-made millionaire. Okay. So I went through my ups and downs, and I was homeless at one point in my life. And I had to kind of answer to myself, how did I get here? Why is this happening to me? And then I basically opened myself up to the cosmos, and I unlocked a lot of information when it comes to money. Over the course of my adventure, really trying to understand abundance, I've spent about $500,000 trying to unlock these different kinds of informations with a ton of different millionaire gurus. And this workshop today, I've hyper concentrated it. So you don't have to go ahead and spend all that money that I've spent to get these same answers. And one of the things that really kind of was shocking to me was, after doing all that research and all that training, it boiled down to this, these very simple rules of your own consciousness and how you're supposed to be behaving with yourself in general, right? So one of the things that I do during these workshops is I directly talk to your soul, your spirit, and your subconscious mind. So this whole entire experience is going to be an energy healing of sorts for you and a subconscious shifting. So when I'm done with this, really re-listen to this audio at least 2 or 3 more times in the week, especially when you first wake up in the morning or when you're about to go back to sleep. And that's going to really ingrain everything that I'm giving you right now via energy. We're beings that communicate beyond just the physical. We have body language. We have like spiritual language. We talk from soul to soul, to heart. So a lot of the vibrations that you're going to be carrying with you today from this workshop is going to be at a level that you can't fully comprehend yet. And that's why you want to revisit this audio several times. Okay. So we're talking about the how to release the fear of money. So a lot of it has to do with understanding that fear is an addiction response. I have a PhD in metaphysical sciences and neuroscience and quantum mechanics. So what I do is like I study people, I study how they think, I study how they communicate, I study how they behave, and then that creates a reality around them that supplies their belief systems. Okay. So one of the things that you need to understand is that your body has been trained, because your body literally, if you were to go right now and do a little bit of scientific research, a gram of DNA is worth 3 terabytes of a hard drive, which is a ton of information, right? Like today we pay a lot of money to get a computer that's got a terabyte, right? So you got to imagine that that's just only a little bit, just 1 gram of the many grams that you're carrying already. Your whole entire body is a reflection of 7 generations prior to who you are today, and in all the experiences that you've been able to gather across your lifetime now. So everything that you've done is an addiction response. And addictions can sometimes be good and sometimes can be bad. A lot of times we hear the word addiction and we're like, oh my God, like alcoholism or something. But really, you can be addicted to fear. You can be addicted to feeling unworthy. You can feel addicted to not being good enough or not being able to have more abundance in your reality. So the first thing you got to really learn is that a lot of the times when you're dealing with the fear of money, it's not always rational. It's not always coming from your mind. And not always can you say, hey, like, I'm just going to just chug right through it. You got to actually give your body a little bit of care. That's why working out, maybe getting into a routine where you can actually get yourself feeling like you're good, right? And a lot of law of attraction tells you you got to feel the feeling so you can attract it. A lot of times is you're feeling the feeling to detox the old addiction programming so that you can open up space for more newness in your reality, okay? So we all have an addictive tension, okay? So the way reality is created, if you think about that loop in infinity, right? It's kind of like a ribbon that goes back and forth like a figure 8. There's one side of that is tension pulling you to the back, to the past. And another side of that is tension pulling you to the future. And then the center, that's where you are currently. Okay. So when you're creating this tension between you getting to the next level, which is you having more money or more abundance or the dream life that you're looking for, there's always a narrative in the past that is saying could you really do it? Maybe, I don't know. You got to prove it to me, right? And you have to be in this position of recognizing that that's not just coming from your body, but it's also coming from a habit that you have. Okay. So oftentimes when I study people and I work with people, one of the first things I really try to pinpoint is their addiction response to fear. This was something that one of my gurus really taught me and changed my life. Every time I felt anxiety to spend money, the first thing I would want to do is buy myself a Krispy Kreme donut, or I would want to go into my fridge and eat a ton of Oreos or ice cream or whatever it was. That was my addiction response to my fear. That was training my body that, hey, you know what? I'm afraid. I'm just going to eat this sugar. I'm going to numb those feelings away. And I don't really have to think about it anymore. So right now, what I want you to do is I want you to stop, take a deep breath, and close your eyes. Okay. I'm going to help you figure out what that addiction response is. Okay. And as you close your eyes, I want you to take a deep breath in and out. That one's to clear your mind. We're going to do it again. This one's to clear your body. And on the third one, you're going to breathe in. And we're just going to temporarily quantum jump into a new reality. You just realize that you have a $10,000 bill right now that just came out of nowhere. You don't know where this bill is from, how you're going to pay it. What's your first response? What do you feel? Where's that feeling in your body? Is it in your heart? Is it in your shoulders? Did you automatically think, you know what? I want to watch Netflix. That response is your self-sabotaging belief. It is the fear addiction response. So you want to pay attention to that, because you're going to notice that the next time you feel some sort of anxiety when it comes to money, that's going to be one of the things that you have. Now, many people are programmed to have at least 5 of them minimum. Some people have more, some people have less. But this basic practice right here is just to identify one. And you're going to try to do this as much as possible throughout the next coming weeks as you practice with yourself and get deeper into it. This fear response, you don't want to give into it when you feel that way, because then you're just only re-solidifying the tension to the past, which is keeping you glued in that old reality that you have. Now, this is body language, okay? One of the things that I really like to teach people is that the way you respond with your body to anything is basically you communicating with the law of attraction. A lot of times people are like, oh, I got to tell the law of attraction what I want. But really, it's how you carry yourself. Everything's energy, right? Your body talks. When you see somebody fidgeting with their hands, it's subconsciously, your subconscious is like, oh, that person might actually like me. If you see a person who's constantly like looking all over the place when they're talking to you, that's a body language that tells your subconscious, I don't really know this person's telling me the truth, right? So you have to pay attention that the way you carry yourself when you're about to spend money, that body language is very important to training the subconscious mind to step into a new sense of self, okay? So I want you to really also be paying attention. Hey, when you're about to spend money, you're like, oh man, and you have to shrug shoulders and you're like, oh no, like, I gotta do it, right? You don't want to do that. Straighten out, put yourself in this power position, and you're like, hey, I'm about to buy this. I'm going to spend it. That's it. It's whatever. The money's going to come back to me somehow. And if you carry that level of confidence, you're retraining your body to have a new sense of self. You're literally switching out your body every 7 days to 7 years. Okay. Like you literally have a new body every 7 days to 7 years. There's a different part of you that's switched out. So we're never the same person twice. You just train yourself to be the same person every time. All right. So in about 7, I believe it's about 7 years time, like your whole entire body has switched itself out completely. Okay. So one of the things you need to do is not only force yourself to know these subtle subconscious body programs that you're carrying, but you need to force yourself to buy things you know you can afford regularly, even if you're afraid of where the money will come from to support your actions. You are playing small, and this is why you cannot grow. Now, this is one of the things that I also had to learn, which is like, I'm not telling you go out today and, buy a Bugatti. You know what I mean? That's not realistic. But what I'm telling you is like, if today you go out and you see something tiny, right? Like you're at the checkout and you're like, ooh, that chocolate looks really, real good. It's $1.99. I don't really know. I don't really know. I should spend that money. Buy it. Buy it. Because why? That's going to say you're worthy. A lot of times we're like, I'm not worthy until I have the money in my bank account. I'm not worthy until I can start seeing myself being able to afford these things. But guess what? Just like in entrepreneurship, and I saw like somebody, when Anita was going through some of those comments, somebody said, I want to start my business, but I'm afraid of failure. Well, you're not going to be able to reach success if failure is the thing that's in front of you. Like you have to be willing to actually trip and fall. Many entrepreneurs, like the best entrepreneurs on the planet, have had moments of like having a ton of money and then all of a sudden losing it all. And then they had to rebuild themselves in some way, shape, or form. Your money flow is dependent on your perspective. One of my gurus is named Chris Duncan, and he's really, really famous for being a multimillionaire and then losing it and then becoming multimillionaire again and then losing it. And he's done this about like 10 times already. And one day he finally sat down and was like, what's my problem? Like how am I doing this to myself? And it's because he had an old tension program that was holding him back. So you really have to start understanding that when you start investing in yourself, rather it's through a course, rather it's just being out and about and saying, hey, you know what? Like I at the end of the year, one of my particular rituals is that if I've had a really good year with my business or helping other people or something, I'll buy myself a crystal. Okay. And the crystal doesn't have to be super fancy, but it can be something that you're like, oh, wow, this is like my trophy, right? This is the identification of like, I can have things that I want. I'm going after my dreams. And this is a tangible thing, right? Like this is something that allows you to anchor yourself in that reality and say, you know what? I'm doing this. I am abundant. I'm making it happen. Okay. So you really have to start forcing yourself to support your actions and stop playing small. Another thing that I've had to learn a lot through like overcoming fear when it comes to abundance is like sometimes the shift to get to the next level is not going to be comfortable. And I remember the first time this happened to me. I was like, okay, I'm ready to step into the next level of my life. But the only way I could get there was spending $25,000 out of nowhere. I did not have the money at that moment. And I was like, I don't know. I don't think I can do this. I don't think I can do this. I had the money credit on my like credit card, and I actually ended up splitting it across like 2 or 3 different credit cards. But I had to be able to say, okay, you know what? If I want to dream bad enough, I don't have the money. I have the resources. This is an opportunity. Let me jump into this opportunity because this is the only way I'm going to manifest myself. It's not going to come to me out of nowhere. I have to invest in myself and take a chance on myself. A lot of times we're like, I'm taking a chance and shooting into the dark. What you're doing is you're taking a chance to prove to yourself that you are capable. A lot of times our abundance is completely tied to our own willingness to invest in ourselves and to be capable and trusting ourselves. When we trust ourselves, the universe gives us, through the law of attraction, a reason to trust it because the universe is us. So it's one of those really, really wild things to really look at in general. And when you do this, what you're doing is you're facing your fears one step at a time. Some steps are going to be bigger. Some of them are going to be smaller. But if you're constantly doing the work and you're shifting, because abundance is a lifestyle, it's a flow, it's an energy frequency that you have to constantly be in to really pull out the highest vibrations possible. So that's why you do the small things first and you start going there. And one of the things that I did too that really like changed the game for me was like I had a Planet Fitness, and I still do. I have a Planet Fitness membership, and it's $22 a month, right? Every day I didn't go to the gym. I spent $22 in my mind. I spent $22 that went down the drain. And I'm like, I can't do that to myself. So I kept myself some way accountable. When I go to the gym, you know what? I just spent $20 for myself. And didn't matter if I was paying $20 a month, I was paying $20 every time in my mind to be at that gym, right? And that was something that allowed me to then feel like, okay, I'm at this gym, I'm getting sexy, I'm feeling the vibes and spending that money. I'm abundant, right? You got to create a hack that makes you feel that way, that makes you feel really good, that makes you feel like you are constantly spending money without actually always spending money. Your brain cannot tell the difference between physical reality and what you imagine in your mind. We've proven this with neuroscience, which is wild. You can take two groups of people, right? One set of people can watch just videos about playing a piano and they never actually practice. And then the other set of people can actually spend 2 weeks straight playing the piano. And at the end of the 2-week cycle, when you have both the people in front of a piano set, they both can play the piano because your brain just watched so many videos. I was like, oh yeah, I got this. I just got to sit down and take a quick little play and I'll get into the groove of it. So this is one of the high end tricks that you can do to reprogram your brain. Okay. This is going to be different for each person because obviously you're the master of your own universe. So you have to allow yourself to kind of like take a meditative state to look at what your position is, how you can adopt these different principles into your reality in general. Now, another thing that we've learned as well through neuroscience is that the direct opposition to fear is love. Okay. So a lot of times people hear this and they're like, oh yeah, it's like woo woo, right? But really, it like when you really start taking the time to feel gratitude, the University of Berkeley has proven that when you feel gratitude, what you end up doing is you rewrite your brain. Your brain literally lets go of old connections and it puts new connections together. And whatever it is that you're feeling grateful for becomes a new version of your reality. This is where synchronicity really kicks in. If you've ever been one of those people that's like, oh man, I see 111 everywhere, 140s, 333s, all this other stuff, it's because your brain has been trained to now recognize opportunities through synchronicity. When you put your mind on something, you're like, I want a new car, and that car is a Toyota, whatever, right? You all of a sudden will start seeing that Toyota, whatever, show up everywhere around you. You're like, that's really weird, right? It's because you told your neurons to let go of the old car and to restitch themselves for the Toyota. That's literally what you're doing, okay? And it's that easy to tap into your body. And guess what? Your body's a computer. You have multiple terabytes in your body that are then recording all that information and be like, you know what, we're going to be in that Toyota. We're going to be driving that, right? So you have to allow yourself to recognize that when you spend money on yourself, even if it's tiny, and it can be like, $1 here, $1 there, 50 cents, whatever, going to the gym like I used to, right? You're basically telling yourself that I choose love instead of fear. And you're basically saying, I love myself enough to invest in myself, rather big or small. You also have to understand that the only reason why you feel unworthy is not because you're not unworthy, it's because you're not treating yourself. A lot of times we seek outside of ourselves that like, oh yeah, I like when somebody treats me, then I feel worthy. Or when somebody tells me I'm sexy, then I feel worthy. Like any narrative on that is usually something that we seek outside of ourselves. But what you have to recognize that the power lies within you. You are the universe. You are source. You are a deity incarnate. And if that's not a vibe that the deity concept is still really far out for you, just recognize that you're stardust and you can touch all other stardust in the universe whenever you feel like it. So when you start treating yourself, even if you're like, hey, you know what? I love painting and I never have time to paint, but you know what? Every week, I'm going to make a little bit of a slot of time, just like an hour and a half to paint because I am worth it. I'm going to treat myself. That alone, without you even spending money, you actually turned your time into money because you invested that into yourself subconsciously. You start becoming abundant out of nowhere. You start seeing how reality synchronizes with you, giving you synchronicities and telling you, hey, listen, here's more opportunity for you to become more abundant because you care about yourself. It's very often that capitalistic culture teaches us that we are not abundant until we're fully in a space where we can free ourselves. Right now, you have freedom. It's not when you have the money or whatever. You have the freedom now. You just have to reorient your perspective to understand that your freedom is your power. It is your abundance. That's why a lot of millionaires, they don't trade directly anymore their time for money, right? They've learned that freedom is the highest currency possible. They find a way to hack time, basically. And then that's how they become even more abundant over the course of their lifetime, right? So that's another really great tip for you. And this is one of the things too that like one of my gurus had said to me, and when he had said this to me, like mine was like, it took me a couple of days to like really fathom this. You can't take that money with you to the grave when you die. So why are you living like that money is your lifeline? And when he was like, I was like, oh yeah, you know what? Like that money's it's not really fueling my life essence. It's not like I'm putting more like time of life into my reality. Why am I becoming a slave with my life energy to the money? It should be the opposite way, right? So you have to also recognize that today, the stresses that you're carrying in terms of fear, like I can't pay my bill, what's going to happen tomorrow? What happens if you die today? All the bills and all the debt collectors tomorrow ain't got nothing on you. They can't come to the grave or the afterlife and collect. You know what I mean? Like, and sometimes people are like, oh, well, what about my family? Even if that's the case, you wouldn't have any control over that. So in a way, one of the things that shamans really teach first off when you're like a kid is that death is an illusion, right? Death is also a superpower. It's a transformative rebirthing phase. When last year you're a different person than you are this year, right? Last year, maybe you were going through very specific issues and you were like, oh, you know what? Like, I don't know how I'm going to make it. And this year you're living a totally different life. You died. That old version of you somewhat died. It got transformed. And that's why you're here right now. You rebirthed yourself. And this is what shamans teach like all their kids at the end of the day. And anybody who steps into shamanism is that death is a tool that you can use in any way, shape, or form. Of course, you have to be obviously responsible with that knowledge. You don't want to like put yourself at risk, but you have to understand that that's one of the things that you need to do. You need to not let money be the driving force for your life, more so that it's a tool that's helping you become more aware of the choices that you can make in your life. And that's where you have to understand that fear is usually a lack of clarity. Okay. So oftentimes people are like, I want money. I want money. I want it. I want it. I want it. But what are you going to do when you get that money? Like, and that was something that like was really crazy for me. Like I had run for such a long time and I was like, yo, I got to be a millionaire. I want to be a millionaire. I want to be a millionaire. And it was always like out of reach until one day I said, you know what? When I become a millionaire, I'm going to teach other people how to do what I just did. I'm going to also help the world heal itself. Okay. And when I said that, woo, all the money just came out of nowhere because I actually had an intention for the money. Like, you can't just be like, I want it so I can collect it. Now, when we look at alchemy, alchemy is the science of consciousness. It's like the chemistry of consciousness. That's one of the things that I'm really well known for. Like, when you think about money, all the words that are associated to money are water words: liquidations, assets, like the flow of money. Like, there's always a water aspect behind that word, that concept of money. Oftentimes people see wealth as like this thing that you accumulate. But what happens when you have a ton of water that's not moving, that's not in flow? It becomes stagnant, and then it becomes a trap. This is why there's rich people who have a ton of money and they're still unhappy, because they haven't learned how to put that money into flow. It's not working for them anymore. They collected it and now they're becoming stagnant. They're getting moldy. All right. So you have to understand that you have to constantly be in some way, shape, or form in flow, not only in your mind, but also in your actions with money. And that's how it ends up working with you. Okay. So another thing about fear that I've noticed working with a lot of people is that people usually are like, well, money makes you evil, right? And like, when you really sit down and you think about that, that's not true. Absolutely not true, because there are people who don't have money and they are the worst people on the planet. And then there's also people who have a lot of money and they're really dope people. You know what I mean? One of the things that I was talking to one of my friends with the other day was Jeff Bezos. When Jeff Bezos was broke and his idea of Amazon was still stuck in his head, nobody had a problem with him, except, he's a crazy dude. Like, the internet's not going to pop off. Like, nobody's going to want to buy stuff from their couch. Like, you crazy, right? And then all of a sudden, fast forward, 10, 20 years, he's got Amazon. And now everyone's looking at his success stories and then being like, oh, this guy's the worst. He's evil. Why? Because he manifested himself, because he went after his dream, because he created something that provides a service to the world. And maybe the person who's judging him doesn't really get the full scope of his journey, right? Every person has a journey. Not every person that is rich got there because it was spoon fed to them. And you have to really understand that, like, your automatic judgments of what another person's wealth story is without you being in their shoes or taking the time to talk to them is a self-sabotaging trap. Is that narrative that most likely your parents gave you to some degree. I grew up in a society of shamanism that basically said money's evil. Like, we don't need money. That's an illusion, right? And at the end of the day, I always ended up hearing my parents say, like, oh my God, what's the point of going to college? What's the point of doing this? What's the point of doing that, when like it's all fake? That's not very helpful when you're looking at the end of the day. Well, okay, how do you make an impact in the world? Unfortunately, a lot of the times, if you want to make a huge impact in the world, you have to have some level of revenue behind you to do the marketing, to do, like the ability to travel, to do like a podcast or something. Like, you have to recognize that money is a flow of energy that allows you to make more choices. That's where one of my gurus also came in later and was like, money doesn't necessarily, it's not necessarily a power. It's a form of measurement that gives you more options. It gives you the ability to step deeper into more choices that you're making. And when you stop looking at money as like this thing of like, when I get it, I'm going to have power. Instead, when you get it, you're going to make more choices that are going to help you be more of who you really want to be. The narrative of money changes. The flow and the energy of money, the resistance that you've had changes. And it's something that is actually really, really amazing when you look at it. So evil, ultimately, when it comes to money, comes in all shapes and sizes, just like good does, right? Like, you have to be able to always look at that duality of that concept. Money is not always paper. And I heard Anita kind of like share this earlier. It's also opportunity. Okay. So this is one of those things where, like I told you earlier, I had to spend that $25K to get to the next step. It was an opportunity. I didn't have to do it, but when I did do it, I saw the results on my investment. I had to follow my intuition, which is basically telling me this is the opportunity. A lot of times too, the opportunity to make more money or to become more abundant is not so obvious to you. Sometimes you just feel like you came into contact with a person and you felt like really connecting with them and talking to them, and they had a dream, and you've been with them helping them, and then when they make it big, they give you a payout, right, of some sort, right? And I'll give you another example of one of these stories that I have to give you a great example as to how it works. 5 years ago, I was like super broke. I was living on food stamps. I was literally living off of like social security. I wasn't really being able to do anything. And I took a course from a very famous content creator, and it was about abundance. And when I took her course, I was like, I don't know, one day I'm going to meet her in person and I'm going to be her friend. And we're going to kick it. I didn't have any proof of it or anything. I listened to the things that she gave me in that course. And fast forward 5 years, last year, there was this huge debate on TikTok about how chakras, are being culturally appropriated, yada yada. It was this huge argument about chakras on the internet. And I left TikTok for a hot minute. I left for like 2 months straight. I was like, I don't even want to be a part of this negativity. One morning I woke up and I heard, listen, you've dedicated your entire life to chakras. Like, what do you mean? Like, you're not gonna go on TikTok and talk about this? You crazy? Like, what are you doing? And I said, okay, fine. Like, I know I'm going to make this video and I'm going to get a bunch of hate, but I feel like I got to make this video just to set the record straight. I made this video. That content creator that I took her course 5 years ago ended up seeing that video, and she liked it. And I lost my mind. I was like, no way. This is not happening. No way. And then she's like, hey, you should text me. I really want to get to know you. And I was like, no way. And I did it. And now she's one of my best friends. The only way that came to be was because I decided to show up as me and take the opportunity that was very it was really intense. The internet can be rough. You guys know that, so like being in that position, getting the hate, I got a huge blessing out of it. And now I'm in that circle of friends of the people that I've been trying to manifest for like ever. You have that same opportunity when you start taking opportunities that present themselves. They're not always going to make sense to you, but when you start taking them, you're going to start seeing results. You miss 100% of the shots you do not take. Another one of those great mantras that I've learned from Albert Einstein is that the best form of knowledge is experience. No one else is going to give you that experience other than you when you start walking your full soul purpose. Okay. So if you really had to make money, and this is where I'm going to leave it, and this is going to probably trigger somebody or something, but I'm just going to be real. Okay. Money is not always paper, right? It's sometimes opportunity. If you really had to make money, you really think about it right now. Okay. You could find a side job that brought you a little bit of extra cash. You can go ahead and start cooking for somebody that you really care about. You could also go to your neighbor and be like, listen, do you need your grass cut? You could open up a Etsy shop and start selling your tarot readings or candles or something very specific that you create for yourself. And this is where the trigger might come in. For some people in today's modern day and age, you might even start an OnlyFans. The opportunity to make money is there. It's just whether or not you're going to go for it. And of course, not all of us are going to take one route over the other because it doesn't resonate with us, right? But you have to be able to see the opportunity available to you. And the more opportunity you can see towards making money, the easier it is to make money. You know that there's always going to be that level that no matter what happens to you, there's always an answer, okay? And that's what happened to me when I went homeless. When I went absolutely homeless, I'm like, how am I going to get out of this horrible situation? I literally had $1 to my name and I didn't have anywhere to go. I was like in debt. I'm like, how do I get out of here? And I said, well, the first thing that I know I'm really good at is shamanism. I know how to heal people. I know how to do massage. I'm like, you know what? Everybody's got back pain. Like, let me just go on Craigslist real quick when Craigslist was still doing that. And I said, listen, I'm a masseuse. I'll go to your house, $50, $100, and I'll just hook you up with a massage. From there, I elevated and I was like, you know what? When my hands started hurting, I was like, I can't do massage anymore. Oh my God, I just can't do this anymore. I said, you know what? Let me go into Reiki, just specifically Reiki. And I started doing Reiki with people for a hot minute. Then when I got bored of Reiki, I said, you know what? Let me be a counselor. When I got bored with that, I was like, let me do tarot for people. When I got bored with that, let me be your psychic. There's opportunity to continuously change because money is flow. Flow is change. You have to become the flow. You have to be your persistent change. And that's what's going to open up the doors for you in terms of abundance. Yesterday as well, I was talking to one of my really good friends, and I was telling her, for all of you guys that are Reiki practitioners, a lot of times Reiki is one of those things that people will come at you when you charge a specific price, right? You're like, oh yeah, I'm going to charge $500 for my course, or $1,000 for my course. And some people are like, spirituality is supposed to be free. You put in the work to learn Reiki, didn't you? Right? You put in the work to understand the nuances of it. What do you mean it's going to be free, right? Nobody like really looks at that vibration. Well, if you look at the original creator of Reiki, Mikao Usui, Mikao Usui charged $10,000 a person to learn Reiki. In today's society, $10,000 in 1922 equates to $165,000. Okay, in today's economy, that's crazy. And today, Reiki is all over the place, and it's helping people. What a blessing that we have to be able to share that energy. But you have to look at even what the original creator of Reiki ended up doing. And if somebody's showing up and trying to tell you, you can't be charging the prices that you're charging, you go back to the source and you're like, you know what? Usui charged 10 grand. I'm definitely worthy of charging whatever I got to charge, right? And you got to always use these narratives to allow yourself to be more powerful with your own beliefs. Okay. So now that we know all these different things, right? Ultimately, opportunity is always there. The last thing that you need to do is show up. If you're not showing up, you can't take that opportunity, right? So it's the same thing when you're doing dating. Oftentimes people are like, I want to find my booskies, right? I want to find my soul flame. I want to be with that person that's going to like just change it and turn me out. But if you don't show up, if you don't show up to the dates that are showing up, how are you going to end up finding somebody that's good? You want that person to like show up out of nowhere, knock on your door while you're watching Netflix 24/7 so you can have the life of your dreams? Like, no, like you can't do that, right? So you have to actually hop on Tinder real quick, do a little couple swipes here, have a little conversation, make an appointment, be like, let's go get a coffee, right? You have to show up and take the shot. And if it works out, it works out. You might be blessed. If it doesn't, hey, you know what? You go right back to that pool and you're like, hey, let's keep swiping until we find it, right? So you have to allow yourself to see that we have a lot of different opportunities in our reality that give us examples as to how the laws of attraction work. If dating's not super scary for you, making money shouldn't be that scary for you either, right? Like you just have to be able to see how that works for you. If you're not making choices to change, you're not going to be making money. And this is where the dilemma for a lot of people comes from, right? A lot of people are like, well, I've taken all these abundance courses and I've done all this work, but it's still not happening. You have to understand that the knowledge that you gain has to become a part of your life. It has to become integrated with who you are. And you have to architect a new personality that takes all the things that you've blessed yourself with and you roll with it, right? You can't be the same person and create new results. Literally the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and over again, expecting a different result in general. And a lot of times people are like, well, I'm not doing the same thing, but you're the same person. You're carrying the same beliefs. You're carrying the same narratives. So you have to change those. Okay. So that's my first little mental reel right there. Okay. That's all for you. That's all the subconscious programming. So now we're going to do the subconscious shifting and the energy work for you. All right. As I said previously, fear is a lack of clarity. So with the worksheet that I'm going to be giving to you, you're going to have step-by-step instructions to do something called the Star of Lakshmi. And it'll pretty much break it down in the worksheet. But in Hindu alchemy or like Hindu mysticism, shamanism, the Star of Lakshmi, Lakshmi is the goddess of wealth and abundance. And she says that if you have these 8 centers of wealth, in any way, shape, or form, you shouldn't be seeing yourself as somebody who's lacking. The first one is if you have the access to create money, however it is that you create money, you're not broke, right? If you have the ability to develop some sort of level of patience, you have some sort of abundance. If you can travel, whether it's through your car or you can go to the other side of the state or whatever, you have abundance because there's a lot of people that can't travel. If you have the ability to acquire knowledge, which all of us do, right? You can sit on Google and pretty much find anything you want without having to spend time these days. That you have abundance, right? If you have the ability to recognize that you've been able to manifest a blessing at any moment in your life, endless prosperity, right? Then you do have abundance. If you've had wins in your life at any moment that you bought a $2 lotto ticket and you got $14 back, that victory is a sign of your abundance. If you have love or health in your reality, any form of health and nourishment, the fact that you can eat today whenever you feel like it, or the fact that, you know what, for the last 10 years of your life, you haven't had a cold, that is a form of abundance. Imagine all the money that goes into people who have poor health, right? Like they have to spend a lot of money to kind of regain that health. If you're not spending that bill, look at you. You're already ahead of the curve. And finally, the vibration of family. If you have family, whether it's your really close friends or your actual biological family, you have a support system. That is part of your abundance center, right? Like you have the opportunity to say, like, if shit really hit the fan, am I really alone? You know what I mean? You have somebody to like lean on, right? To some degree. Those are centers of abundance that the goddess Lakshmi shows us that open up your soul wealth at the end of the day. So what I want you to do is I'm going to show you 2 mudras. Mudras are hand positions that unlock energy in your body, okay? And I'm going to explain what they are. The first one is you're basically going to put your hands like that, right? Sideways. And they're like, I got them like that. Okay. So you're just going to leave your middle fingers right there where they're at. And all the other ones are just going to go down. So it's almost like that. You know what I mean? Okay. Very simple. This is a power mudra, and you're going to tuck your thumbs a little bit inward. Okay. So you're going to just hold that in front of you and just like be chill. This is going to open up your root chakra. Your root chakra is where you hold fear, is where your foundations of safety are. And when you start using this every day, okay, like just all you have to do it first thing in the morning, do it in the middle of the day, hold it for like 10, 15 minutes, even longer if you feel like it, if you're used to meditation, you're going to open up and detox all those issues of fear that you carry. Now, the second one as well that I want to show you just before we get into the meditation is you grab your hands, right? You know, your ring finger on each hand. You're just going to press them down like that with your thumb. That's it. Now, this finger right here, your ring finger is associated to the sun. Okay. The sun is associated to your spirit. The spirit is associated to energy. So when you hold this, what you're doing is you're bringing in more energy into your reality. You're bringing in more energy into your reality. That turns into consciousness. That turns into flow. Okay. So then when you're doing this, you're fueling that root chakra to be like, you know what? I'm about to create all them opportunities. Okay. So you have to allow yourself to just do those 2. 1 and 2, whenever you're ready. Okay. So whenever I say the first mudra, this is what we're going to be practicing, and this is where we're going to start. And when I say 2, we're going to switch over to the ring finger doing the position. Okay. So we're going to start with mantra 1. Okay. Mudra 1. Take a deep breath. And I just want you to allow yourself to tell yourself internally that I accept the energy healing that we're going to be doing today. I accept the energy healing from Antojai. And Antojai is the cosmic energy that I teach everyone. It's the 12 laws of reality. It's super powerful, okay? Energy work is easy. If you've never done it before, don't worry. The fact that we're all together right now is going to really open up a lot of that energy, okay? So I want you to take a deep breath in, doing that first mudra, holding it, and you're just going to relax your mind. And every time something negative comes up, doesn't matter if it's mental, emotional, physical, or spiritual, you're just going to use your breath to let it go. Okay. Some people take a deeper inhale or a deeper exhale. Some people even make a sound when they exhale. So it's up to you. I don't really want you to try to fight the intrusions that come in. I just want you to be observant. Okay. So we're going to start the energy work in 3, 2, 1. I don't want you to look for it. I just want you to feel it. And what we're going to do is we're just going to allow ourselves to connect to the power of life. I want you to say life 3 times in your mind or out loud. Life, life, life. And as you do that, let your mind roam. You're completely protected during this time. Antojai energy protects you when you're doing any form of meditation or energy work. And pay attention to what sensations you're feeling in your body. Are you feeling a little bit of pressure in your shoulders, in your legs, in your head? Did your mind automatically go to the last vacation you had. All of this is you talking with your body. This is the language of your body. It's telling you directly what you need to be paying attention to when it comes to abundance. If it's something positive, those are the feelings that you need to chase more often. If you thought about the last vacation you were in, oh, great. Okay. Well, you got to think about all the things you did there. Did you go out and eat? Did you, just spend more time in nature? Did you stop freaking out about how the money was going to come through? Did you stay in a hotel that had a ton of colors in it? That's all information that's going to help you unlock more abundance in your life. If something negative comes up, then you're recognizing, okay, well, these are the most immediate things that are making me not abundant. So if you start doing this energy and called in that life energy and you thought about, I don't know, how you have to pay for your college tuition, like at the end of the month, that's a stressor. Okay. So we're just taking a mental registry of like, okay, well, that's one of the things that's in the subconscious mind that's causing me stress. And you can do something that's so easy, okay, like putting an automatic payment. You got to simplify your mind, right? If you're like, oh my God, on the 20th, I got to make sure I don't miss that bill. Otherwise, I'm getting hit with like a, overdraft fee. How about you put it on automatic payment? That's one less stressor that you got to focus on. Take a deep breath and breathe in the life into your lungs. Breathe in the life into your body. And then breathe in the life into the flow of your abundance. And as we keep doing this, you're just going to keep breathing in the life into your abundance. We're going to switch over to Mudra 2. Okay. And now we're going to create attention resistance. We're going to shift you from one reality into the other. And this is going to be super easy for you. Okay. As we shift, I want you to right now feel where you're at. Get in tune with your body, get in tune with your story, get in tune with your room. Just feel all of that for just a second. And as you're feeling that, I want you to go ahead and start visualizing a TV screen that's showing up in front of you. If you cannot visualize, just hold for a second and I'll tell you in the next step what to do. For those of you that can visualize and you can see that TV screen, I want you to start seeing the version of you that has the thing that you want, right? If you're becoming more abundant, how are you spending that money? Are you spending that at the beach? Are you spending that by decorating your house? How are you spending that money? Remember, that money's got to be in flow. It's not that you have the money, it's how you're using that money, the choices you're making with that money. And as you visualize that, I want you to allow yourself to get closer and closer and closer to that picture. If you can't visualize, I want you to start categorizing in your mind how you're going to spend the money that comes to you. How are you going to use that money to make more money? How are you going to use that money to make yourself happier? How are you going to use that money to make other people happy? How are you going to make choices with the money that comes to you? For those of you visualizing, I want you to take a deep breath. And I want you to see a button right next to you. A red button. And when you press that red button, you're going to go right into that screen, that TV screen, and you're going to embody that person you've been watching. Because that person's you. That person exists right now. Whenever you're ready, you'll press that button and you're going to step into that version of you. And as you step into that version of you, you are now talking to her or them or him, however you identify. And you're going to ask them, what do you believe in? What did you learn? How did we get here? And just listen. If you can't visualize and you're doing the feeling technique, try to get as close as possible to the feelings of relaxation, that money doesn't have a hold of you anymore because you're able to make all the choices that are necessary to make your life easy. Your life is getting easier. Feel the vibration of ease. And if you're doing the feeling technique, when you feel like you can't get any closer to ease, that's where you go ahead and you ask, how do I stay here? How can I make this more my new normal? Breathe out anything negative. You have the ability to make a ton of choices. That means you're super abundant. Taking in a deep breath in, start feeling the gratitude and the appreciation of being in that position. And I'm going to increase the energy in 3, 2, 1. Deep breath in. Keep focusing on that gratitude. Keep focusing on the abundance, on all your choices, on your resourcefulness, on the fact that you have so many opportunities. Feel the energy of all the people around you that are embodying their full potential as well. Because all of us together, being at our multiple, massive peak of abundance, is just something that we all can feed off of. It boosts all of us. You are not alone creating this reality. We are all creating this together. And as you're doing this, anything that comes up that tries to bring you into a limited position, you're going to remind it. That's your ego, the old programs. You're going to tell it, you know what? I choose something different. I want you to feel grateful for yourself. This is a really high technique that I use. I usually tell myself, Axel, thank you. Thank you for making the right choices to going after your dream. Take that second for yourself. Thank yourself. Thank your ego. Make your ego your best friend. And as you open up that energy, take a second to thank the universe that is you. Your ego creates the universe that you exist in via the law of attraction. So your universe is your name. Thank you, Excel, for showing up and creating the life of my dreams. And thank you, Excel Universe, for showing me through the law of attraction my own creation. Finally, we're going to take one step deeper. We are going to feel gratitude for the unknown. Take a deep breath. Oftentimes, the unknown scares us. That's probably like the worst thing of creating your abundance, right? It's just like you don't know how it's going to happen, where it's going to come from. Well, in terms of shamanism and advanced alchemy, energy medicine, the unknown is the divine feminine. The divine feminine does not like to be told what to do. She likes to dance. She likes to party. It's the divine masculine that's like, no, you got to have a linear structure. You got to do what I say. We live in a divine feminine universe with the help of the divine masculine. When you feel gratitude for the unknown can only transform itself into reasons why you feel more gratitude for your abundance. Deep breath. Going back to Mudra 1. And you're going to tell yourself, I release. And you're going to release all the negative tension that's there. Focusing your gratitude on the unknown, focusing your gratitude on yourself, on your universe. reminding yourself of how powerful you are because you are resourceful. You have choices. You are already the person that you've always wanted to be. You've learned the secrets to rewiring your subconscious. And when I say the following words, I want you to just let your subconscious mind tell you whatever it is that automatically comes up. I'm going to say a word and something's automatically going to come through. For instance, you'll notice I'll say dog and you might hear fluffy or beautiful. That immediate answer is your unconscious mind. So here we go. In 3, 2, 1, monetary. Patience. Travel. Knowledge. As you feel the energy amplifying, you're getting deeper into your space. This is your energy of flow. When I say endless prosperity, when I say victory, when I say health, when I say family, and when I say happiness, each one of these words are your sacred tools, are your sacred gifts to create your reality. And if right now you can see a color in your mind, whatever color that is tied to a chakra, an energy organ, that is your center, your power center for creating money and more abundance. Whatever that color is, you're going to write that down whenever you get a chance. And then you're going to look up that color chakra when we're done with this workshop online. We're going to come back in 10. Take a deep breath. 9. Your soul is thankful and open. 8. You are transforming and rebirthing and transcending all the time. You're heavenly. 7. Your reality is in harmony. Your life is always manifesting its highest potential. 6. You are open with your intuition. 5. You only live in your truth. 4. All of your fear is always going to be transformed into love, and you're always going to bounce it back into love. 3. Your mind is always progressing, open to seeing opportunity. Your mind is in flow with the creations of abundance and prosperity. 2. Your emotions release anything that are not in alignment with this, and you only accept the blessings that you create for yourself and that are truly in alignment with who you are at your highest level. 1, your existence is here. It's locked. It is real. 0, the universe abides. I want you to take 3 deep breaths. And whenever you feel like you've come back, you can open your eyes. You can relax. I'm saying this was insane. The color blue came to my mind. Yes, your throat chakra. That means you got to talk a little bit more your truth. You got to live that truth. Someone saw purple. Purple, that's your third eye. Pink, that's your heart chakra. Green, heart chakra. Yellow, solar plexus chakra. Red and green, that's also your root and heart chakra. Read about these chakras. That color, that was your own body telling you Focus on the lessons of these chakras and watch all the money come through. Okay. Orange. Yeah. Orange is a really good a good one too. That one's for that's actually the actual abundance center for a lot of people as well. White. Yeah, if you saw white, that's also tied to life, your crown chakra. Perfect. So this meditation here was designed to open up your crown and your halo. If you've ever seen a halo in those religious pictures above an angel or the Buddha or whatever, that's an actual chakra. And that chakra allows you to transform. Your crown chakra is tied to the force of life that comes into your reality and the abundance that you have. So in 2 seconds, I'm going to give you the worksheet, the clarity worksheet. And I'll probably put it in a couple more times here. This is the worksheet that I told you about, the Star of Lakshmi. So when you download it, and I'll just go ahead and I'll put it in there again, just in case if you guys need to reference it easily. In the recap. Okay, awesome. So you're going to take your time with this worksheet, and this worksheet is going to be super easy. It's got a playlist to it as well. Okay, which is basically a YouTube series that I created to help you on top of watching the actual lecture inside of the worksheet. But it's going to help you really pinpoint the centers of abundance for you. And I'll give you a great example. For me, monetary means exaltation. Exaltation is extreme joy. When I'm feeling extreme joy, I make more money. I've seen it happen. When I am in my patient center, which I'm being vulnerable and I'm just putting myself out there, I see a lot of abundance come through. When I am traveling and I'm feeling free, I feel more abundant. When I'm in my knowledge center and I'm just expressing my truth, more abundance comes in. And you're going to notice that each one of these centers in that worksheet are going to really help you tune into the main vibrations that are going to unlock not only your soul purpose, but your soul's wealth. We all have a cheat sheet. Like when we used to play Nintendo, if you ever used to play Nintendo, I'm old school like that. You used to plug in that Game Shark and you had all those secret codes to unlock infinite Pokeballs or whatever. That's what this workshop's designed for you. So if you have any questions or if Anita wants to take over, I'm here for you. Just let me know.
Oh, so good. I'm still vibing. I don't even know if I'm completely present right now. Oh, my microphone's over here. But seriously, that was so amazing. Honestly, I started to release the sound as soon as I closed my eyes. And this is just such a beautiful exercise. And I just feel like there is so much information in such a short amount of time that I would love to put this on the podcast, if that's okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So, just so you guys know, Axél is also going to be on the podcast here in February. Yeah, we're so excited. Yeah. And I know some things might be planned. Yeah. So I know we're manifesting something hopefully live. And this is so powerful. So I want to thank you so much. We can probably have, or how good are you on time? Honestly, I think 11:30 was like the cutoff time, but
okay. Yeah, I'm good. I'm good on whatever works for you.
Yeah, let's answer one question. If you guys want to go to the reactions and just put your little hand up, it should look like this. And I can Okay, Victoria, it has her hand up. So we'll ask. Go ahead, love. Whenever you're ready, just unmute yourself and ask your question.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hey. First off, my primary language is not English, so if I say something wrong, you just know. But well, I'm a bit nervous now. But I was thinking about because you were saying something about when you're 7 years, during those years, till you're 7 years old, you're the most receptive and you're manifesting. I don't know what you said exactly, but it was something along with that. But I was thinking more, imagine if you're going through something very traumatic, agree for something, and that becomes like a block. Like how do you like is that something that you need to go back to, like to heal? Does it have the same impact as a block when you were 7 years old, or is it like a minor block? Do you understand what I mean?
Yes. So when it comes to like the blockages that you have internally from that age gap, what you need to understand is that a lot of it is just it's a perceptional gap. So the best way to describe it is, give me 20 seconds because like I'm trying to condense it in the quickest way possible. The beliefs that we carry as a child it doesn't always make sense. So it's not always like rational. It's more so like we observed it and we believed it for whatever reason because of the energy that we feel behind it. One of the things that neuroscience has taught us is that when you revisit a memory in the past, it's actually never the exact same as you remembered it because it always changes ever so slightly. So one of the things that you can do when you want to rewrite like a particular memory from that age range is put yourself in that emotion. Go back to the memory where like maybe your mom told you she couldn't afford something, right? And change the narrative. Maybe you felt the energy that your mom was afraid to spend the money because she didn't know where the money was going to come from. How about you just change it ever so slightly and you say, okay, well, she did have the money. She just didn't feel like spending the money in that moment. That changes the power in your memory. And then it allows you to say, okay, it's not that we didn't have money. It's just like, it wasn't the opportune moment to like really buy it. Did we really need that at that moment? You know what I mean? And then you can do that over and over and over again when you're in your own meditations. And you'll notice that that memory eventually fades away and you'll remember something completely brand new. Does that help you?
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, I understand. But could hypnosis help with that? Or like, is it just meditation?
Hypnosis can help you, meditation, energy work. One of the things too that I like to do is like, I'll just remember the memory and I'll try to just make it funny. You know, a lot of times like I'll go to like a bad memory. Yeah. And I'll see dolphin people walking around or something and I'll make it super funny. And then you desensitize the emotion to the feeling that you originally recorded with that memory. Does that make sense?
Okay. So you're kind of parallel shifting, like you're using some kind of quantum shifting. Okay. Yeah. Then absolutely. I understand.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Greetings from Sweden.
Yeah, thank you. Much love from Detroit.
So beautiful. What a great question. And I'm very curious. What time is it there? Beautiful. Go ahead.
One quick addressing. I see that someone said they can't access the worksheet. When you plug in the sign up for the worksheet, it's going to be emailed to you. So you can skip the second page if I saw that it's locked for some reason. If not, then Anita will send you another copy of it just in case. But you should get an email immediately after you sign in.
Yay! Yes, we're going to put that in the recap to everybody. Also put your social media links. The last thing I just wanted to everybody to do right now is just please take your phone, your device, and just stop and speaker today. I want you to make a post right now, whether it's on Facebook, Instagram. Where are you most present at?
Me? I'm most present on TikTok, or I'm also present on Instagram, really. If you want content on the regular, it's TikTok for sure.
Yes. If you guys even want to make a TikTok video and tag him in it, it'd be awesome. Just tell us what you got out of today. And like I said, there's so much information. Even myself, I'm taking so many notes because I just love being in this energy. And I'm so happy and grateful that everybody tuned in today. So like we said, there'll be replays sent out to everybody. We're going to wrap things up here. And then tomorrow we'll be back on same time for day 3. Thank you so much again for coming on and speaking. I cannot wait till you're here in San Diego.
Yeah, likewise. Thank you for having me. Thank you everyone for being a part of this. And I hope that you manifest the most amazing year that you've ever had in your life. So send you all the love.
Yay! So good.